نعم. تفضل يا أخي.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. وقال الشيخ بن عثيمين رحمه الله: This kind of speech would necessitate the absence of any possible guidance or clarification from the prophets, and it would mean that those who contradict the prophets can say that the guidance and clarification is from them, not from the prophets, as they are the ones who know what they say and they can clarify the meanings with intellectual evidences. But the prophets did not know what they were saying themselves, so they could not possibly explain what they meant.
الله
All
أكبر.
of this
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Before we begin, I can see there is a brother, الدروس جيدة. بارك الله فيك. Can you contact me after the lesson? Do you have my number? If you are able to, let me know in the chat. Al-Imam, we're building off of what we were talking about last week. The Sheikh says this, what is entailed here, this is lazim wadih. I struggle with how to translate lazim الشيء. Do we say that which follows, what is binding? I don't really يعني necessary from it, maybe. What is necessitated from it? ما أدري how. The lazim يا أخو, I can explain it to you. What necessarily follows, maybe something like this. When will you continue منظومة بيقونية? I have explained them twice on my channel. There are 2 explanations for البيقونية. بارك الله فيك. طيب. The lazim is a person can say something and it can't, يعني there is a lazim for it, something that is necessary that follows, but I might not know it, right? I might say something and what necessarily comes out of it is something that is disrespectful, but I didn't mean it, I didn't know about it. And so it is not something that I abide by unless you ask me, and we have studied this. If you remember, I told you our Shaykh Salih Sahimi, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him, has taught us this, the Mufti of Medina. He told us that the lazim for the saying of a person does not mean that he commits by it. It could be kufr and he doesn't know. You teach him, he says, no, I don't abide by this. So this is what is meant by lazim. I mean the bin Uthaymeen when he started. Yes, I finished it on like years ago. Years ago I finished it, I think. 2 years or a year and a half, something like this. I don't remember. I might be wrong, but I think I finished it a long time ago. But this is different than the academy. If you're talking about the academy, we still have 1 more lesson to go. طيب. Imam bin Uthaymeen says this is a lazimun wadih. It's an apparent lazim. Because the mulhid, ya akha, mulhid doesn't mean atheist. The Shaykh, mulhid comes and nowadays it means atheist, but we have to understand, does he mean atheist or deviant? Because mulhid meaning deviated. لا يمكن أن تستدل علي, because the mulhid, يعني the deviant himself, he says, or he can say, you cannot bring as evidence against me the speech that you don't know what it means. Meaning in the Quran. And I am bringing as evidence my opinion and my mind. And then he would tell you that the meaning is so and so. Which is better than saying, I don't know what the meaning is. therefore, this has become problematic for some people, to the point that they said طريقة السلف أسلم وطريقة الخلف أعلم وأحكم. أعلم وأحكم. That the way of Salaf al-Salih is safer, but the way of al-Khalaf is more knowledgeable and more wise. Allah al-Musta'an. Khalaf, our Sheikh Muhammad Hisham, when this sentence is mentioned, he says al-Khalaf meaning those who came after them and contradicted the Salaf. The Sheikh says the sentence he says this sentence is an honest lying sentence. Is an honest lying sentence. Honest because yes, the way of Salaf al-Salih is safer. And it is lying. He says al-ibara as-sadiqa al-kadhiba. The honest lie or the honest lying sentence. Or the honest sentence that is a lie. Because the way of al-Khalaf is more knowledgeable and more wise. This is from the biggest lies. Min akdhabi ma yakun. From the most severe lies. طيب, I would like to stop here before I continue. Brothers, barakallahu feekum, I can see you have questions, but leave them at the end of the lesson. If you are typing, some of you are typing questions, important questions, some of them. Now is studying, Now we are indulging in ilm itself. So leave the questions. The questions will get answered later on. You can look them up. You will find through the lessons the answers. Now focus with the lesson. Barakallahu feekum. طيب. The Sheikh says, first of all, it is a contradiction. How can it be safer? How can one be safer and the other one will be more wise and containing more knowledge or more knowledgeable? Because safety can only be achieved through knowledge and wisdom. How can the ignorant be safer or yaslam? Abadan, never. And the foolish also cannot be safe. The Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen says, for the sake of argument, we can say that the jahil cannot be more safe than a alim, than a knowledgeable person, and the foolish cannot be more safe than a wise person. So if you affirm that the way of Salaf al-Salih is safer, then you must affirm that it is more knowledgeable and based upon more knowledge, and it is wiser. Number two, and Imam bin Uthaymeen says, in what, from what, how can you say that the way of a Salaf is safer and the way of al-Khalaf is more knowledgeable and wise? Do you know who a Salaf are? Brothers, I gave you a benefit before and I did not find it. If you remember, I didn't know where it is. I told you from our Salaf is who? Do you remember it? Who are our Salaf? Those who Ahsant ya Shaykh ibn Munir. Someone has been listening attentively. I said including the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I said this. I said Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is from our Salaf. But where, and I told you Ibn Uthaymeen said it. But where did I get this from? I forgot. Page 257 from the explanation. Look, not the book itself, the explanation of the book. Of Imam bin Uthaymeen, by Imam bin Uthaymeen. He says, أتدري من السلف? Do you know who as-Salaf are? السلف هم الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Salaf are the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم. والخلفاء الراشدون, and the four, and the rightly guided caliphs. والصحابة, and the companions, وَالتَّابِعُونَ لَهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ, and those who followed them with goodness, from the Imams of guidance and truth. So how can it be that the way of the Khalaf more guided than them and more knowledgeable and wise? Can we say, you, O Messenger of Allah, and Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali and all of the Sahaba, that the way of these from the Mu'tazila and these philosophers and so on, أعلم وأحكم منكم, more knowledgeable and wise than you? This is unimaginable. ولو أن إنسانا, and if a person ثبت على هذا, if he hears this and he establishes this and affirms it, he says, yeah, no, I'm more knowledgeable and wise than the messenger and the Sahaba and so on, لأخرجناه من الإسلام. The Shaykh says, لأخرجناه من الإسلام, we would throw him outside the fold of Islam. We say he's no longer Muslim, because this is from the biggest slanders of the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba. As Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah says, أفراخ الصابئ والمشركين واليهود والنصارى ثم يقال هو أعلم وأحكم من الرسول وأصحابه. He says the أفراخ, the أفراخ, do you know what أفراخ is? Like, what do you call them in English? You have the chicken, and then the offspring, the baby of the chicken. What do you call them? The baby of the chicken. The chick. طيب. Or this is what is meant. أفراخ. فرخ, the young offspring of something. This is a فرخ. By the way, in Qawai'd now, we use it the same way. With especially in the more Bedouin dialect. They say فرخ, meaning what? He's young. Like a small chick or like a small offspring, whether of an animal and so on. So he says أفراخ الصابئ والمشركين, and the disbelievers, and the Yahud and the Nasara, the Jews and the Christians. And then the Shaykh says, فالمهم, that this sentence, you might find it in some of the books of noble scholars, علماء أجلاء. And if they knew what this عبارة entails ومستلزماتها, look, the lazim from it, what it necessitates, they would have never said it. However, it might be something that they get used to saying without, out of hastiness, or without contemplating and holding back and contemplating and so on. And they take it from those that were before them, so they say it. طيب. Now,
أحسن الله إليك. Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah, he continued, all of this shows clearly that the position of the people of Tafweed, who themselves believe they are following the Sunnah and the Salaf, is from the most evil statements of the people of innovation and ilhad. These are some very direct words coming from the possessor of a very guided position, so what could I add to it? May Allah the Exalted have abundant mercy on him, and may he gather us with him in the gardens of delight.
And we say the same thing about Imam bin Uthaymeen, and we're not going to add to it. No.
The fourth principle concerning the evidences, the apparent meanings of the texts are relative to the proper context. The apparent meanings of the texts are those meanings that come to one's mind naturally, and they differ based
on... This is a very precious and important rule. Reread it, barakallahu fiqh, until where I told you to stop.
Ahsanallahu ilayk. He said, rahimahullah, the apparent meanings of the texts are relative to the proper context. The apparent meanings of the texts are those meanings that come to one's mind naturally.
That's what is meant by apparent. What comes to your mind naturally. We have studied in usul fiqh, but I'm not sure if... I think we also did it in the foundational dawrah, that an-nas, one of the meanings of an-nas, is that which only has one meaning. And there isn't a meaning that is zahir, an overweighing meaning or the meaning that comes to mind, meaning there is another meaning, but this is the meaning that comes to mind. La, nas, meaning it cannot be understood in another way. Apparent is what instantly comes to your mind. I tell you a word, what instantly comes to your mind, this is the apparent meaning. Simple as that. It has other meanings, fine, but this is the apparent meaning. The Imam bin Uthaymeen says, if I said I killed a lion in a wasteland or in the jungle, let's say, what do you think? I killed a lion in the jungle. The lion what is what? Ha Shaykh ibn Munir, he says lion, animal. طيب. Do you all agree with Shaykh ibn Munir? Animal, طيب. Do you all agree? All of you, طيب خلاص. Okay, fine, good. And if I said, I saw a lion carrying a bag to school or university. Now what? The animal? Not the animal. A brave person. طيب. Alhamdulillah. طيب. So the words are what, ya ikhwa? What did we just learn? The words are what? Are vessels for the meanings. They are vessels for the meanings. Sheikh Adil is a lion. He's a lion carrying his bags. I said a lion carrying his bags to university or schools. He said, that's me. طيب. So the words are vessels for the meaning. You instantly understood. No need for philosophy and no need to make categories saying there is something called majaz and there is something called haqiqah. Because by the end of the day, words are only vessels for meanings. When I told you these words, you understood them. And when I used the same word somewhere else, you also understood until you said, in no way, shape, or form, it could mean the animal. So there is no such a thing as majaz. And here Imam bin Uthaymeen is going to talk about this. He says, and this is what made Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala say that there is no majaz in the Arabic language. I'm going to summarize for you. طيب, so what is ظاهر الكلام, what is apparent from the words is what instantly comes to what? To your mind. And what instantly came to your mind is what? Is that it is a person, not the animal, even though I said lion. Therefore, this is the ظاهر. And since this is what is meant, then this is haqiqah as it is. Simple as that. We don't need to make these categories. And wallahi ya ikhwa, this kind of, you'll find this in philosophy a lot. They keep dividing and they keep giving definitions and they keep dividing and definitions. And sometimes if you actually take a step back and you look at this, at these 200 definitions and divisions, you see that maybe there is a need for 5 of them. And the rest is nonsense. Therefore, I love the quote of Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala when he said, the meaning of which, philosophy is nonsense. Now,
أحسن الله إليك. Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah said, and they differ based on the general context of the speech. So a word may carry one meaning in one context and a second meaning in another context, just as a group of words in a certain order may carry one meaning and another when the order is changed.
You see the philosophy of Sheikh Isa? One of the brothers says, I was watching the Foundational Dawra right before this. And now AbdulAziz is bashing the people of Majaz there. I came here, he's doing the same. Subhanallah. That's not my fault. The Foundational Dawra ended months ago. That's not my fault. طيب. Sheikh Isa, you see how this sounds like? If we use the words in one context, in a sentence, it means one thing, and if we use it in another sentence, do we really need to learn this? Wallahi, even babies, they know this. That if I use a word in a certain context, Shaykh Isa, it means that which you instantly understand. And if I use it in another context, it means something else and you instantly understand it. So why do we need to say these things? Because the Shaykh is replying to philosophers. Because philosophers are making the argument that there is haqiqah and there is majaz, and they give definition to each one. And majaz, how many categories do they give majaz? It's a headache. It's a headache. Unnecessary studying for what? Ahsant. Barakallah. Somebody sent me a message. He said, it doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't. We can deny it. By the way, ya ikhwa, the people of majaz, I told you something that I want to test now, actually. Yani that just came to my mind. This is the first time I actually think about this. What is the sign or the alama they said is for majaz? Do you remember? What you can deny. What you can deny. It's a lie. Who said so? Let's question this as well. Didn't I tell you always when it comes to philosophy, always question the premises? Who says even we can deny? Who says we can deny it? Something that you can deny. Who says that this is actually true? If we said, let's take any majaz. Let's take any majaz. I saw a lion that is going to a school, like the Sheikh said. Who said that we can deny it? I saw a lion that was going to school. What do you understand? I understand that I saw a brave person that was going to school. No, we have to deny that it is a lion. No, I saw someone who's lion-like that was going to school. He is a lion. He's a human lion. Who says that we can deny it? No, he's more than brave. He's like a lion. That's how brave he is. He's a lion. That's how brave he is. How can you deny that? No, it means that he was courageous. No, it means more than that. You understand? Barakallahu fikum. So even at that, it doesn't make total sense. And maybe we can even have a better example where actually, if we think about it, we cannot even deny it in the first place. Yani, are you telling me that I really did not understand that it is a person that you have to come and tell me, no, it's not? Wallahi, this is nonsense. More than nonsense, actually. طيب, نعم.
أحسن الله إليك. Imam bin Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, he says, for example, the word qarya may be used to refer to a group of people, and it also may be referring to their village. An example of the first usage can be found in the statement of Allah, the Exalted, and the meaning of which, and there is no qarya except that we will cause it to perish before the day of standing, or we will punish it with a severe punishment, in Surah Al-Isra, ayah 58. And an example of the
who from you know Arabic? Who from you know Arabic? طيب. The ayah says, وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ. How did the Sheikh Taqiyuddin al-Hilali say, what was it, Sheikh Isa? There is no.
And there is no qarya, group of people.
How? He said, وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ يا Sheikh Isa. وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ. Where's the negation? There is no negation. Do you know Arabic, Sheikh Isa?
بالي.
طيب, وإليك. وَإِن مِّن There is no negation. He said there is no qarya except that is so and so. How? For those that speak Arabic, I want you to write down what I will say now. الشيخ العلامة the Shaykh of our Mashayikh, Ubaid al-Jabri, in his explanation of this book, while I was reading it, he quoted Shawkani, rahimahullah ta'ala, and I don't remember if he quoted the whole thing or I went and got the whole quote. I don't remember. But either way, we have the quote. It's from Fath al-Qadir for Shawkani, volume number 3, page 268. He said, in wa in min qaryatin in nafiyah. This in is a negation. Wa min, not for tab'id, wa min lil-istighraq. Min lil-istighraq, meaning it encompasses all. So the first one is negation, the second one encompasses all, it's general. أي ما من قرية, meaning there is no village. أي قرية كانت من قرى الكفار, any village from the villages of the disbelievers. قال الزجاج said أي ما من أهل قرية, meaning there is no people of a village. إلا سيهلكون, except that they will die. إما بموت, either with death, وإما بعذاب, or by torment, يستأصلهم, that annihilates all of them. فالمراد بالقرية أهلها. فالمراد بالقرية أهلها. So what is meant by the قرية is its people. وإنما قيل قبل القيامة, and it has been said before the day of judgment. It has only been said before the day of judgment because لأن الإهلاك يوم القيامة, because the إهلاك يعني doom or death at the day of judgment غير مختص بالقرى الكافرة, is not specific to disbelieving villages and or يعني certain people, بل يعم كل قرية لانقضاء عمر الدنيا. In fact, it encompasses every يعني village, every nation, every people, because the time of this dunya of worldly life has ended. Now you understand why it is so important that we have someone like Shaykh al-Allama Taqiyuddin al-Hilali behind the translation that we have in English. Because he knows these things. He's a allama. He's a scholar. Therefore, he translated it like that. And now you understand what this is. وَإِن مِّن قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا نَحْنُ مُهْلِكُهَا مَا مِن قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا نَحْنُ مُهْلِكُهَا. This is the meaning. And it is used in the Arabic language. نعم.
أحسن الله إليك. Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah continues, an example of the second usage is found in the statement of Allah, quoting the angels who came as guests to Ibrahim alayhi salam. And he said in the meaning of, verily we are going to destroy the people of this qarya, meaning village, in Surah Al-Ankabut. Likewise you may say, I made this with my hand, but the word hand here is not like the hand referred to in the statement of Allah the Exalted, the meaning of which, He, meaning Allah, said, O Iblis, what has prevented you from prostrating to what I have created with my two hands? In Surah Sad. Imam bin Uthaymeen continued, this is because the hand mentioned in the example is the hand of a created being, thus it is understood in relationship to that. The hand mentioned in the Quranic ayah is the hand of the Creator, so it is something befitting Him. No one with a clear mind and an unpolluted rationale could believe that the hand of the Creator is like the hand of one of His creation or vice versa. Likewise, we can say the following two statements. No one is with you except Zayd, and Zayd is only with you.
نعم.
The second...
So the first one, what does it mean? Can you tell me, أخي عيسى?
That you have nobody with you except Zayd.
أحسن. So there isn't Ubaid, for example, with Zayd. There's nobody else. And the second one?
Is that Zayd is restrictedly with you and with nobody else.
أحسنت. And you can have Zayd and Ubaid as well. And Muhammad and Khalid and Isa and... Right? That doesn't negate that. Are you with me?
نعم.
نعم, if I said, no, I'm only with you. And if someone said, meaning nobody else, you say, la, there's Adam and there's Akbar and there's Suhail and Muhammad, but he's only with me, not with anybody else. But there are some people, you understand. Even so, when the wordings differ, so the meanings differ. If you said, ما عندك إلا زيد وما زيد إلا عندك, the same words, we just changed their arrangements. The first one means that you have nobody else other than Zayd. The second one means that Zayd is not somewhere else, he's with you. But you could have somebody else other than Zayd with you as well. So different meanings, actually even opposite meanings as well. نعم.
أحسن الله إليك. Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah continues, the second sentence clearly carries a different meaning than the first, while they both have the same words, but the different order causes them to have different meanings.
نعم.
Once this is understood.
Imam ibn Uthaymeen now gets into majaz. He says, those who have, there is a question that was asked to the Shaykh. Those who were the ones that negated majaz from the people of Sunnah, did they negate it unconditionally like this, or just in the Quran? Imam bin Uthaymeen says they divided into يعني groups. Some of them said that majaz is negated only in the Quran, only. Like Shaykh al-Shanqiti rahimahullah ta'ala. And some of the people of ilm negated it unconditionally. There is no such thing as majaz, like Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim and other than them. And the reason for Shanqiti is that there is no negation and refusal or saying that something is a lie in the Quran. You cannot do nafi in the Quran. Because it is correct to deny the majaz. And how can you deny something in the Quran? And he, rahimahullah ta'ala, said, لَيْسَ فِي الْقُرْآنِ مَا يَصِحُّ نَفْيُهُ. There is nothing in the Quran that it is correct that you negate it. But Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah ta'ala, أقعد, his speech, أقعد وأبين وأوضح. It is more established, more clear, and أوضح. And more clarified and more clear. Shaykh al-Islam says, الألفاظ قوالب للمعاني. Write this down. بارك الله فيكم. If you're not writing down, يعني, what can I do to make you write down? Write this down. بارك الله فيكم. الألفاظ قوالب المعاني. The words are vessels for the meanings. فإذا تعين أن يكون المعنى كذا وكذا في هذه اللفظة فهو حقيقة وننتهي. Imam bin Uthaymeen says, so if the meaning is understood in this or that terminology, then it is the truth. End of the deal. That's it. And the Shaykh says, وَالْكَلَامُ مَبْسُوطٌ بَسْطًا كَامِلًا فِي مُخْتَصَرِ الصَّوَاعِقِ الْمُرْسَلَةِ. And you will find the full explanation of this completely in مختصر الصواعق المرسلة. And this is for Shaykh Al-Allama Ibn al-Qayyim. And by the way, right now, our Shaykh Daghash bin Shabib al-Ajmi, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him, is explaining this book. And if I didn't have my disc, my spinal disc, I would have gone to the masjid and sat with the Shaykh. So if you know Arabic and you have studied a lot of Aqidah and have finished so many of the books and so on, and you are ready, inshallah azza wa jal, for a Sawa'iq al-Mursala, then you know that this explanation is there. And this is a huge benefit, especially for the student of knowledge, because sometimes you might type on YouTube, for example, the explanation for Mukhtasar al-Sawa'iq al-Mursala, and it will never show to you the explanation of Sheikh Daghash ibn Shabib. You'll find explanations, but it doesn't show. But once you know that the Sheikh explained it, you write Mukhtasar al-Sawa'iq al-Mursala, Sheikh Daghash bin Shabib or Daghash al-Ajmi. What do you find? Instantly it comes out. Walhamdulillah. instantly it comes out. And you can watch it. So this is beneficial to you. Barakallahu fikum. Some of the people that affirm the majaz, they say nobody before Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim have negated the majaz. Imam bin Uthaymeen says, we tell them, and dividing speech into true and majaz was not known at the time of the Sahaba, the Tabi'een, and those that followed them with goodness, because this happened very late. This happened very late, and this is how we answer them. And what they claim that Imam Ahmad said, this is from Majaz al-Lugha, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna nahnu, we are, and instead of using singular, this means, as Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala explained, that this is Majaz al-Lugha, هذا min Majaz al-Lugha, meaning this is from what is allowed. He did not give in to Majaz and whatnot. This is what is allowed. From what is allowed. نعم ما يجوز في اللغة. That's what is meant. What is allowed in the language. الذي تجيزه اللغة أن يعبر الإنسان, as Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah ta'ala said. نعم.
أحسن الله إليك Imam bin Uthaymeen.
يعني Shaykh Isa, they cling to straws. It's a straw that they're clinging to. There is no such a thing. Wallahi, the saying of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim and others from the ulama, that there is no such a thing, without a doubt, we say, without a doubt. Because, ya ikhwa, philosophy has influenced a lot of the other sciences. And as the Shaykh said, there are ulama, ajilla, that have fallen into saying sentences that they would have never said if they understood it, if they understood what it entails or what it leads to. And ya ikhwa, there are many sciences and fields of knowledge that have been heavily influenced by this. And some of the ulama said that there is no need for all of these divisions and definitions and I don't know what. Ilm is not by memorizing one sentence as a definition. La. As Shaykh Abdul Salam Shway'ir, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him, said in the explanation, I believe, of al-Qawai'd al-Fiqhiyya, that we have to understand, we have to know the definition and the categories and the different types and the examples, and we study it deeply, and we know the furu', the branches, subhanallah, and their examples and so on. This is how you learn the subject itself. Na'am.
أحسن الله إليك. Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala continued. Once this is understood, one knows that the apparent meanings of the texts of the attributes of Allah are the meanings that naturally come to one's mind. People can be categorized into three main groups with regard to this principle. The first group are those who affirm the truth of the apparent meanings that naturally come to one's mind in a way that is befitting to Allah, the Mighty and Majestic, and they allow the texts to be used as a proof based on this understanding. This group is the Salaf, those that united upon what the Prophet ﷺ and his companions were upon. They collectively agreed to this understanding, as Ibn Abdul Barr rahimahullah reported, saying Ahlul Sunnah are united upon the affirmation of all of the attributes mentioned in the Noble Quran and the Sunnah, and upon belief in them literally, not figuratively. They did not seek after their specific details, nor did they limit them in any way. Al-Qadi Abu Ya'la said in his book Ibtal al-Ta'wil, it is not permissible to reject these narrations, nor is it permissible to busy oneself trying to explain them away. Rather, what is obligatory regarding them is to understand them according to their apparent meanings, knowing that they are the attributes of Allah that do not resemble the attributes of created things. One may not believe that they are similar to the creation's attributes, rather he must believe in them the same way that has been reported from Imam Ahmad rahimahullah and the rest of the Imams. Shaykh al-Islam.
Yeah, this is ijma', ya ikhwa, ijma'. This is a consensus of the ulama and the way of Imam Ahmad and the rest of the Imams. And even Ibn Abdul Barr, the Imam said, وَالْإِيمَانُ وَحَمْلِهَا عَلَى الْحَقِيقَةِ لَا عَلَى الْمَجَازِ. Yani by consensus, they understood it as it truly is with no majaz. Nah. And this is, if you want to know where he said this is At-Tamheed, volume number 7, page 145. Naam.
أحسن الله إليك. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah quoted these statements of Ibn Abd al-Barr and al-Qadi in his book Al-Fatawa al-Hamawiyya, as found in Ibn
الفتوى
Qasim's Majmu' al-Fatawa.
الفتوى الحموية. نعم.
أحسن الله إليك. Al-Fatwa al-Hamawiyya, as found in Ibn Qasim's Majmu' al-Fatawa. This is correct. This is the correct position and the upright way of wisdom for two reasons. Firstly, it is the complete way of applying the text from the book and the Sunnah that show the obligation of accepting the names and attributes. This is something known to anyone who studies the issue with knowledge and fairness.
نعم. الإمام بن عثيمين says because لا بد له في الحكم بين الناس, it is a must when you are ruling between people, من أمرين, of two things, العلم والإنصاف, knowledge and justice. فالجاهل, an ignorant person, لا يجوز أن يحكم, it is impermissible that he passes what? Rulings. لأنه جاهل, because he's ignorant. والجائر, and the transgressor, his ruling is not accepted. طيب. والله الله المستعان. والله if you look at the fitan that's happening nowadays in the da'wah scene, يلا, take these two sentences and type them. Someone making rulings upon people and individuals and this person and that person, while he's a jahil, and this is impermissible as Imam bin Uthaymeen said, or he may start saying about the rulings of, and here we're talking about what? We're talking about Sunnah and Bid'ah, and the people of Sunnah and Bid'ah. So this is exactly the subject. So a jahil cannot pass rulings and cannot speak in the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal with ignorance, or about others with ignorance. And he must have what? He must insaf, to be just, not with injustice. And Allah al-Musta'an. We see nowadays, especially when it comes to these matters, barakallahu fikum, this person and that person, and that we see going on, there is injustice. There are lies. They forge stuff as well. So many things. There is hatred between some people. There is misunderstanding, misinformation, whatever it is. Actually, even worse than that, it could be anonymous as well. We don't know the context. We don't know what's going on. We didn't even verify or even ask the person about so-and-so that happened. Nothing of that. No tathabbut. Yani, no justice whatsoever. Not even tathabbut if it's true or not, or what is the context, or is it cut off or not. No tathabbut. And most of the people that deal with this are the extreme ignorant. Learn this. Wallahi, I gave this example before and I will give it again because I have seen this so many times. A person sends me a message about this. Tabdi' and tafsiq and takfir and I don't know what. And his question sounds to him normal. To me, so I told you before, if you're talking to a medical student or you're talking to a doctor, if somebody comes and gives a medical question, this medical student or the doctor, even if he was a beginner medical student, might look at the person and he says, you have no background in medicine, right? Because he understands from the question. And let people know this. Teach this to people. Wallahi, it sounds like this. It sounds to me, even though it sounds, for him it's a question and so on, but it sounds to me, AbdulAziz, they send me a Sheikh, so and so, is the wudu of so and so valid? He didn't wash his belly button and knees. My reply is what? You have nothing to do with this. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about this. You don't know what you're talking about. This is sometimes it's an insult. They think this is an insult or something. I don't know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. It's an advice. And trust me, wallahi, it's a very valid advice. You have no clue what you're talking about. This is how it sounds. Therefore, we understand instantly that this person should not indulge in this, should not be talking about this. What's coming out of his mouth is gibberish, and he doesn't know it. What's coming out of it, this person did this, and there's that, and therefore this person is moved. You have no clue what you're talking about. It's like coming to somebody and saying, this person doesn't know how to do wudu. This person is a fasiq or mubtadi' or whatever it is, the ruling that he wants to put on him. Why? Because he didn't wash his belly button and knees. Remain silent. Remain silent. Barakallah fik. Remain silent. This is not your field. You have nothing to do with it. Khalas, get out of it. Get out of it. You don't know what you're talking about. If it is in regards to from where do I seek ilm, you have videos, alhamdulillah, and you have, and I keep repeating this, maybe you get tired of me. There are videos that are translated. Explanation of the book of Tawheed for Al-Allama Salih al-Luhaydan. There's an explanation, I believe, also for the book of Tawheed by Sheikh, the Mufti of Medina, Sheikh Salih al-Sihimi. There is an explanation. There are explanations for Sheikh Falah Mundakar and Muhammad Hisham al-Tahiri and many mashayikh in English. So you can go and watch them. These are mashayikh themselves. And there are books that you can learn from. Like the books of Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan, they are easy. And after you finish them, you can move on to the books of Imam bin Uthaymeen. They are a little bit more difficult and more oriented towards the students of Najj. And you have videos that you can watch and listen to. And you have English du'at in the English language that are trustworthy. Don't expand so much. And for Urdu speakers, ahsantum, there are videos of Sheikh al-Allama al-Muhaddith, Sheikh Wasiyullah Abbas, for those that speak Urdu. You understand, barakallahu fikum? And there are some people that are, alhamdulillah, known to be upon goodness. And there are students of knowledge that are known to be upon goodness and upon and you can, inshaAllah, and you can confirm with their sheikhs or the mashayikh, and they know them. So you can also take from them. And if you stuck to the big ulama and so on, there is nothing wrong with it. And the more you learn, inshaAllah ta'ala, the more you'll realize and understand where to take ilm from and how to approach these things. And I mention this because it is crucial. Look at Imam bin Uthaymeen. أن الإنسان لا بد له في الحكم بين الناس من أمرين. A person who's going to do rulings between people has to have two things. العلم والإنصاف. علم and justice. فالجاهل, an ignorant person, لا يجوز أن يحكم. It is impermissible for him to pass rulings. لأنه جاهل, because he is jahil, he's ignorant. والجائر, and the one who doesn't have justice, the transgressor, لا يقبل حكمه. His ruling is not accepted. جائر, unjust, passes rulings on people unjustly. Passes rulings on the ulama and the mashayikh and this is unjustly and with ignorance, both of them. What do you expect from someone who is jahil, ignorant, as well as jair at the same time? لا, this is impermissible and you stay away from it. نعم.
أحسن الله إليك. Imam bin Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, he said, secondly, it can be said that the truth is either that which is found in the statements of the Salaf or that which is found in the statements of others. The second idea.
Let's stop at secondly and expand on the previous point. Somebody, for example, what I was just saying now, someone who is jahil comes and says the way of a Salaf al-Salih is to negate the attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal. And when you show him the evidences from the Quran and the Sunnah and the sayings of the ulama, he's also not just. La, this person is Shaykh al-Islam, this Ibn Taymiyyah. La, he is zindiq, he is this, yani hypocrite, he is that. Subhanallah. Like I remember once, there was somebody who worked in the building that I live in. And he was listening to me once, and he said, Wallahi, yani he said, Sheikh, I wish everybody was like you. He was saying this, and I had somebody with me. He said, I wish everybody was like you too. Speaking about the deen and the Quran, because he heard us saying something while he was coming up the stairs. We were talking. And then he came and he said, I told my wife to slaughter or a Sayyida Zainab or something like that. I said, Ta'al, come. So I started talking to him. He said, so you mean these people are conning us out of our money? And it is impermissible? I said, Na'am. He said, and they are taking our money, because I showed him ayat and ahadith. And he was like, so this is not true and this is that? I said, Na'am. So he's like, I just told my wife and to go and slaughter. And then a later date, maybe he went and started asking and so on. He came to me, he said, you are Wahhabi. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. He said, you are Wahhabi? I said, what do you mean? I said, now he doesn't want to listen to me anymore. Look, ignorance, the first one. The second one, what? Injustice. I showed you Quran and Ahadith and you got convinced. You went back, they gave a label to us. They said, these are Wahhabiyah. So he came to me now, you are Wahhabi? So if I am Wahhabi, he's not going to listen to me anymore because of the label. Ya akhi, leave Wahhabi, whatever it is. I showed you Quran and Sunnah. You understand? Barakallahu feekum. Therefore, I caution you, especially in the English da'wah scene and in any da'wah scene, ya ikhwah. Don't pass rulings so easily. Don't do it out of ignorance and injustice. There's a lot of this, and we need to stay away from it. If we want, we have to do it upon knowledge, and we have to have knowledge first. So we need to seek knowledge first. And we have to be just. We have to be just, barakallahu feekum. Yeah, let's not rush. Let's take our time. Let's investigate. And if we are not able to, then stop. Khalas. Close your mouth. Let those who know speak. Go to those who know and ask them. And be just. Bring the whole context. This must be understood because it's dangerous. You're going to get sayyat. You're going to fall into major sins. Whoever this person that you're going to talk about will be your khasam at the day of judgment. Even if it was your ex-wife, somebody that you used to work with, in every aspect of life, ya ikhwa, don't accuse people and judge and pass rulings without knowledge and justice. Wallahi, this is golden. Wallahi, this is golden. Naam, especially on these social media platforms. Understand this, ya ikhwa. Salamatu la ya'diluha shay, as the ulama say. Safety, there's nothing equivalent to it. Safety, be safe in your religion. And when you want to speak with ilm. Imam al-Bukhari says, Babun al-ilmu qabla al-qawli wal-amal. There are a lot of ignorant people that are doing both of these things. Ignorance as well as injustice. Don't follow them. It's not as simple as that. There are ulama, ya ikhwa. And since we are on the subject, learn, ya ikhwa, that the ulama are the ones that are asked about students of knowledge or others. Not the other way around. The knowledgeable are the ones that speak about that. Yani you want to know the hal of a sheikh, a alim, a scholar? Ask the scholars themselves. No, I'm going to go to this person who is yani in knowledge, unmentionable. Like AbdulAziz. You come to AbdulAziz, unmentionable. Who's AbdulAziz? You come to AbdulAziz and you ask him, what about a sheikh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili or a sheikh As-Sahimi or Sheikh Abdul Razak al-Badr? No, me and the likes of me? No. The ones that are asked are the ulama themselves. So you go to the mashayikh and the ulama. Like whatever from the ulama. Yani like if we wanted to name some of the ulama, like for example Sheikh al-Uthaymeen or Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad or Sheikh Abdul Razak al-Badr, very known for their ilm and piety. And so Sheikh Muhammad Hisham, Sheikh Aziz Farhan, Sheikh Daghash, Sheikh Sulaiman Ruhaili, and Sheikh Salih al-Sahimi, and Sheikh Wasiyullah Abbas, and many of the mashayikh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve them. And many other mashayikh as well. Many other mashayikh. This is from the top of my head. Sheikh Ali bin Ghazi al-Tuwajiri, for example. And many from the other mashayikh. So you go and you ask them. They know. They are the people of ilm. And not just that, they live with them as well. So we must understand that as well, because there are a lot of fitness going on. But to go to somebody who is far, far away from all of these mashayikh, and who is not on the caliber of the mashayikh, not on the caliber of their students, not on the caliber of the least of their students. How can even if they were on the caliber of high students, they're not the ones to be asked. The people of ilm themselves are those who are asked. Are we blind to this? Is this like in the da'wah scene, people blind to this? They don't know this because it's not the way of the Salaf. Even when we talk about jarh al-ta'dil and so on, isn't it the people they go back and the people that speak about this, aren't they the people of knowledge, the imams themselves, the ulama themselves? Or are they small students of knowledge? Students that their contribution, nothing compared to the ulama themselves. So if we wanted to actually know the state of this sheikh or alim, we go to the people of ilm themselves. They are the ones that are asked. The people of ilm. Don't fall into mistakes, these mistakes. But I found an anonymous page on YouTube or whatever, on social media, that said, Ya akhi, anonymous page on a certain place this is not ilm. This is not how you seek ilm. This is not a source of ilm. You actually went against the way of a Salaf al-Salih by doing so. The way of a Salaf al-Salih is that this ilm is deen. So look carefully. Who are you taking your deen from? Anonymous? La. The way of Salaf al-Salih is that we go to the people of ilm and that we, as they say, bend the knees. We sit down and we learn. It's not a toy. It's not a child's play. Whatever I see people saying on social media, I'll say it as well. And because I love this person, I'm going to side with him. I love AbdulAziz, I'm going to side with him. La. Therefore, I caution you from this. Don't side. And I'm telling my students, not because you like me or I am your teacher. Don't ever. This would be your reason. The haqq should always be your reason. And you have to do it with justice. No ta'addi, no injustice, none of this, ya ikhwa. Don't make ta'assub for a certain person. This is not the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. The deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, the Quran and the Sunnah and the haqq, the understanding of Salaf al-Salih. And all of this must be understood, ya ikhwa. So we go to the ulama themselves, the source of knowledge, and these are the people that we ask them. This is the way of a Salaf al-Salih. And when we do it in another way, then we are deviating from the way of a Salaf al-Salih. Do you know in the books of Jarh and Ta'dil, the small students are the ones that are speaking and the people are going back to them? Or is it the imams that are speaking and the people are going back to them? Which way is it? So we understand the proper way. Barakallahu fikum. And we go back to the ulama and we ask the ulama themselves and we stick to what the ulama themselves said. And these are from our usul, and this is part of our aqidah, and this is what Imam bin Uthaymeen was talking about. Passing rulings, it has to be with ilm and justice. So we go back to the people of knowledge and piety and justice, and they are, or other than that, it's impermissible. This is haram. La yajuz, the Imam said. And we stop here, inshaAllah, tabarak wa ta'ala. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.